3,000 years ago, 10 tribes vanished from history. In our previous video, we documented where the evidence points: Afghanistan, Ethiopia, India, Zimbabwe, and the comments came in from around the world, all asking versions of the same 3 questions. What about the Samaritans? What about the Tiv of Nigeria? And several viewers said plainly, the lost tribes are in Nigeria, all of them. These are not small questions. They deserve precise answers, not opinions, not theology. Facts, genetics, and archaeology. Start with the Samaritans, because this is the question with the most direct scientific answer, and it is not the answer either side expects. The Samaritans are not ancient history. They are alive right now. As of 2024, approximately 900 Samaritans exist on Earth. Around 460 live in Holon, a city just south of Tel Aviv. Around 380 live in Kiryat Luza, on Mount Gerizim in the West Bank, near the city of Nablus. 900 people, one of the smallest surviving ethno-religious communities on the planet. Their population dropped below 150 people in 1917, one of the narrowest demographic bottlenecks of any surviving human group in recorded history. Now, who are they? And do they connect to the lost tribes? 2 competing stories have existed about the Samaritans for 2,700 years. The Jewish biblical account in 2 Kings chapter 17 says the Assyrians deported the Israelite population of the north in 722 BC and replaced them with foreigners from Babylon, Kuta, Hamath, and Sepharvaim. These foreign settlers mixed with whatever Israelites remained and produced the Samaritan people, a mixed population with no legitimate claim to Israelite lineage. The Samaritan account says the opposite. They have always claimed to be the true surviving Israelites from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, who were never deported. That the foreign settler story in 2 Kings was Jewish polemic, not history. In 2004 and again in 2013, peer-reviewed genetic studies published in the journal Human Biology by researchers, including scientists from Stanford University, tested this directly. They examined 13 Y chromosomal markers and 15 autosomal markers across Samaritan males and 461 Jews and non-Jews from multiple continents. The result was precise. The Samaritans were found to be genetically closely related to Kohanim, the Jewish priestly families. Each Samaritan family carried a Y chromosome haplotype that was no more than 1 mutation removed from the Cohen Modal Haplotype, the genetic signature found in Jewish priestly descendants worldwide. The DNA supported the Samaritan claim, not the 2 Kings account. Their male lineage traces back to ancient Israel. But here is the critical nuance. The Samaritans are not one of the 10 lost tribes waiting to be found. They are the descendants of Israelites who never left, who stayed in the land, developed a distinct religious tradition centered on Mount Gerizim rather than Jerusalem, survived centuries of Byzantine persecution, forced conversion, and demographic collapse, and are still there today. 900 people, holding a genetic memory of ancient Israel in the same land where that memory began. Now Nigeria. And here the evidence requires precision, because the comments named the Tiv, but the group that has actually been scientifically studied is the Igbo. The Tiv people, approximately 4 to 6 million people living in Benue State in north-central Nigeria, have oral traditions that some community members connect to ancient Israelite heritage based on cultural parallels. The honest status of that claim: no peer-reviewed genetic study examining Tiv ancestry for Israelite connection has been published. The claim exists in oral tradition. It has not been tested. Unverified does not mean false. It means unverified. The Igbo are a different matter entirely. Approximately 35 million people in southeastern Nigeria. For more than 500 years, scholars have documented parallels between Igbo and Israelite cultural practices: circumcision on the 8th day, agricultural tithes, ceremonial purification laws, levirate marriage, food restrictions. Between 20,000 and 30,000 Igbo currently identify as practicing Jews. Remy Ilona, a Nigerian lawyer and PhD candidate at the University of California, Riverside, argues the term Igbo derives from Ivri, the Hebrew word for Hebrew, and has written 10 books documenting the parallels. In early 2017, Jewish Voice Ministries International coordinated a DNA test of 124 Igbo males. Samples were analyzed in collaboration with researchers from the University of Arizona's Anthropology Department and Dr. Doron Behar from Israel. one of the leading authors of scientific papers on Jewish genetics over the past 20 years. The finding was unambiguous. The DNA did not support the Igbo claim to Israelite ancestry. Jewish populations worldwide are found in 9 specific genetic groups: E, 1b, GJ1, J2, QR, 1a, R1b, Q, and T. All 124 Igbo males tested fell into E1a, a branch restricted to sub-Saharan African populations with no overlap with any known Jewish genetic group. A 2019 study published in the journal Nature, examining genetic data from over 400 individuals across Africa, including substantial Nigerian populations, found the same result. Nigerian DNA shows deep West African ancestry with no significant Middle Eastern genetic markers. The Igbo claim is not supported by the genetic evidence currently available. However, and this matters, Remy Ilona and other Igbo scholars disputed the 2017 test on methodological grounds. Their argument: the test was conducted by a messianic Jewish organization with a theological agenda. The sample size was limited, and Y chromosome testing alone cannot capture the full complexity of ancestry across 2,500 years of intermarriage and population movement. The Jerusalem Post in January 2023 noted that multiple genetic studies on the Igbo have produced conflicting results, some supporting descent, some not. The question has not been definitively closed. What can be said precisely is this: the strongest genetic evidence currently available does not support the Nigerian lost tribes claim. Future, larger, independent studies may produce different results. Here is what the full picture shows. The Samaritans, peer-reviewed genetic evidence confirms genuine Israelite paternal ancestry, not lost, surviving. 900 people on a mountain and in a Tel Aviv suburb who have been called imposters for 2,700 years and whose DNA says otherwise. The Tiv, no genetic study conducted, unverified claim, not proven, not disproven. The Igbo, the largest DNA test conducted, found no genetic connection to Jewish populations. Some scholars dispute the methodology. The claim remains scientifically contested, currently unsupported. Professor Stephen Weitzman of the University of Pennsylvania, in a 2017 paper on genetics and the lost tribes, stated the principle that governs all of this: DNA alone cannot write the history. Geneticists always need oral traditions, written texts, and archaeological evidence to make sense of genetic data. The testimony of DNA requires interpretation, and interpretation requires humility. The lost tribes scattered into an empire that no longer exists, across populations that have been conquered, converted, and transformed dozens of times, over 3 millennia. Some of that scattering left genetic traces detectable by modern science. Some of it did not. Some communities preserved cultural memory without preserving genetic markers. Some may have preserved genetic markers that have simply not been tested yet. The Samaritans are the clearest case the evidence has produced, and they were never lost. They were hiding in plain sight, on the same mountain where they have always been, waiting for someone to ask the right question. The DNA gave the answer.